Hello everyone, Gaming Smiler here, and welcome to my review of H2O. Not a review of water, not a review of that show to do with mermaids. It was on Nickelodeon. It's Halloween 20 years later. And yeah, this started an entirely new timeline in the Halloween franchise. Because originally it was going to be connected to 4, 5 and 6. But Jamie Lee Curtis signed on, and in 4, 5 and 6 they killed off her character. Because she wouldn't sign on, but she signed on this time to play Laurie Strode again. So it created a timeline where only parts Halloween 1 and 2 exist, and yeah, so it's 20 years after 2. Well, they both happen on the same night, but still. And Laurie, kind of a wreck. Basically, the entire idea is Michael comes back 20 years later. And I like this film. I think it's alright. I don't think it's that bad. I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 hallucinations. I'm only just going to say hallucinations because it kind of happens at some point. But yeah, it was directed by Steve Miner. And it's about an hour and 26 minutes long. And the music was done by John O'Halloran and Jeremy Sweet. Sorry, a bit hard to read there. Several characters return. Well, I say several, but Laurie, Michael, and Marion Chambers, who was the nurse from the first two that I didn't know the name of. And they say her name in this one, so now I know it. And yeah, Michael Myers is played by Chris Durand this time. Marion Chambers is still played by Nancy Stevens, and this film also has Joseph Gordon-Levitt for a little bit. But yeah, this film, it's basically the idea. The story is Michael comes back 20 years later to get revenge on his sister. But yeah. So with that out the way, spoiler time. So basically the film starts off, it is the 29th of October 1998, and Marion Chambers is coming home and to Langdon, Illinois, and she goes home. She finds broken glass, and the door is open, and it's really dark inside. She's not stupid, so she goes next door to her neighbours, which Joseph Gordon-Levitt lives there. He's a teenager, so yeah. But she asks him and her friend to go check out her house, and he does, and there's a jump scare with an iron board. But yeah, he basically finds that the house has been searched, and basically Michael's trying to figure out where his sister Laurie has gone, because she's not in Haddonfield anymore. This is probably, I think, the only Halloween film that doesn't have a scene in Haddonfield, like, at all. This is like the only one, well, other than 3, that's got nothing to do with Haddonfield. The only one with Michael Myers that ain't got nothing to do with Haddonfield. But yeah. So anyway, he accidentally ruins the kitchen, and he finds that the office is ruined. Basically, he gets jump scared by an iron board, and this causes him to accidentally knock down a thing with pots and pans. Anyway, he tells Marion that everything's fine, that the office has been trashed, and the kitchen's been trashed by the person. He doesn't exactly want to say, yeah, I did it. But anyway, she goes in and she figures out that actually it's Michael. She figures it out because she sees all the things to do with Jamie Lee, to do with Laurie and that. And yeah. So turns out that the place was actually Loomis's place, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, she gets frightened after. Basically, she goes next door again because she sees Michael in the hall. He opens the door. He's at the back of the place, and she gets scared, and she runs to her neighbour's house, and she finds Joseph Gordon-Levitt with an ice skate in his head, sitting in a chair. And she goes to go out the back door, and the other guy's body falls on her. There's a thing in her head. She also called the police, so the police arrive, and they search the wrong house. They search Marion's house while she's in Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house, and Michael kills her with and he takes the car. Well, at least I think he kills her. I'm pretty sure he does, but anyway, he takes the car and he drives away, obviously, because now he knows where she is. And basically, there's a bit where it goes to Loomis's house, and it's title sequence. Really shitty Loomis impression, by the way, because as I said, this is the first. Well, I didn't quite say that. This is the first Michael Myers one that doesn't have Loomis, because Donald Pleasence died, unfortunately, before the release of Halloween 6. So yeah. Anyway, we know it's Loomis, not from the voice. It's because he uses the whole entire line about evil and the cold dead eyes, and there's nothing behind Michael's eyes when he was a child. But anyway, so Laurie has changed her name to Carrie Tate, and we find this out in a nightmare. She has a nightmare about Michael in the wardrobe, the wardrobe that she was in the first one, and yeah, she basically freaks out in her bed, and her son wakes her up. It's her son's 17th birthday, and it's Halloween. Well, ain't that just a bitch? Halloween gives you PTSD, plus it's your son's birthday. That's a bitch, But anyway, turns out she's moved to Summer Glen, California. And she works at Hillcrest High School, where her son goes to. And she's the headmaster of the place. And basically, there's a bunch of kids that are going. Basically, her son goes to his friends, and they basically talk about things. Like, there's this trip that's like going to Yosemite, camping or something, whatever. But anyway, basically the group of friends plan to ditch it because he can't go because Laurie isn't letting him out of her sight. Because it's Halloween, and he's not very happy about this because he's 17 years old and wants to be his own person. He wants to be independent, but she ain't letting that happen. Anyway, Michael, we come back to Michael, and there's this woman and her child are in a car. The child needs to go to the toilet, so they stop off at the nearest toilet that they can, which is a building in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's just toilets, and of course they go there. Michael ends up stealing the woman's bag, and he takes her car keys and he takes her car. It's quite tense, I'm not gonna lie. It's quite tense, that scene. You think he's gonna bust through the door and kill her and then kill the child, but no. He just walks and takes the car, and he drives off to Summer Glen. But yeah. So back at the high school, Laurie's laying down some ground rules, because they're representing the school in Yosemite, so they can't, drink, they can't smoke, they can't do anything bad. And so yeah, basically she's just laying the ground rules and telling them to have fun, but not too much fun. So basically, turns out Laurie, basically, while she's doing this speech, her son and his friends are talking about the plan that they're going to do. Basically, they realize that they're going to be alone in the high school, for that time. And one of them mentions a roaming orgy, which I don't know about that. I don't know about that when Michael comes, but alright. But, yeah. Turns out that Laurie's dating the guidance counsellor there. We find this out after she ends up speaking to an old woman who works there. And she reuses a line from Mr. Brackett later on that was in the first Halloween. But, yeah. She, kisses him, and then, things, change. You see that. But then, LL Cool J's in this film. I forgot to mention that he plays a security guard that likes to write erotica. And, yeah, he's reading erotica to his wife or his girlfriend on the phone. Laurie's son, his name's John. Should have mentioned that. He's played by Josh Hartnett. But anyway, so he wants to go into town to get his girlfriend a present, which is actually alcohol. But you know he can't say alcohol because he's 17, and you know alcohol is basically the legal age to drink alcohol in America is 21, which I think is a bit high, but you know, whatever. I mean, what do I know? I live in Britain. It's 18 over here. But anyway, so Laurie ends up going on a date with the guy. She has some hallucinations of Michael Myers. She gets jump scared by the counselor because she thinks he's Michael, but he puts his hand on her shoulder and she gets a jump. And then our good old, she ends up sitting down, having a drink. Well, she has a bit of a drink. She's a bit of a functioning alcoholic, and basically she talks about her mental health. She ain't in the best spot, you know. And then date's over, and she has 2 glasses of wine at the same time, and yeah, she ends up finding her son in town. She goes apeshit. She even screams "What the fuck" in like the middle of the street at him, and yeah, they have a fallout. And John's not very happy because you know he's 17 years old. You know, he doesn't want her to constantly pester him and whatever, but you know, she's not having it. But yeah, so they decide. Well, it's after a while that Michael Myers arrives in Summer Glen. He arrives, and you just see the car. But obviously, you know it's him. It's like the original. You know it's his car. You know it's the one that he's in. But it also helps because the theme's played. But yeah. So John's girlfriend, whose name I have forgotten, and I wrote down on a different page. But yeah. Anyway, she's doing the dishes, and she gets something through the dumbwaiter. It's kind of tense, but it was unneeded. Which is a map that leads to a storage room, where they have set up where her boyfriend John has set up a romantic dinner, and you know, they're basically like, yeah, good time. But anyway, we get a redo of the original Halloween's English scene. You know, where Laurie's looking out the window and there's Michael in his car. But this time, Michael's at the door, because there's the door that leads directly outside, and he's looking in at John's girlfriend. And, you know, she gets a question about Frankenstein, and, well, yeah, who's the monster? But then, basically, John at the end is given permission by his mom to go to Yosemite, which kind of fucks up the entire plan. Because, you know, the plan was to stay there, but, you know, he's like that, so he basically pretends to leave. You know, because they're like 40 minutes. And anyway, as I said, this is the part with the repeat line, which is, guess it's Halloween, so everyone's entitled to one good scare. Because Laurie does the same thing, where she accidentally walks into them, and then, you know, that line is said, and then that's the conversation over. But LL Cool J is back to telling his wife some erotica, and Michael's car is at the gate, and he goes and checks it out, and Michael walks right past him, doesn't do nothing to him, just walks past him after he opens the gate, and he looks in, and Michael ends up playing games with him, like he knocks on different parts of the security shed, you know, to confuse the shit out of him. But anyway, he doesn't kill him. He doesn't do nothing. It looks like he's gonna kill him, but he doesn't do anything. But Laurie, and you see Laurie leaving the office, and she sees Michael. She thinks that it's bullshit. She blinks 3 times. Every time she blinks, he's still there, because you know it's really Michael. But the counselor just comes out from like the left, ends up right in front of her. She doesn't question the fact that Michael's still there, even when she's blinked 3 times and he's not gone. But yeah, so they basically plan another date, because you know there's gonna be no kids about, and they plan another date that's gonna take place at Laurie's house, and yeah, so after this entire bit, he sees Michael, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" But then he doesn't go check it out. He doesn't do nothing. But yeah, so Laurie's getting ready to see for the counsellor to arrive, and he arrives with a pumpkin, and there's the kids, the kids that are staying behind. The other two, that isn't John and his girlfriend, are preparing the food that they're having, and anyway, saying that they're prepping the food, but we also cut to Laurie telling the counsellor her true name and everything, basically that her name isn't Tate, her name is actually Laurie Strode, and she's the sister of Michael Myers. He knows immediately who Michael Myers is. Fucking everyone knows who Michael Myers is. But anyway, so he wants a drink after he finds this out, and this is when Laurie realizes that her son's in trouble, because basically the counsellor says, "How old were you when this happened?" And she went, "I was 17." And she sees the 17th birthday card that's on the fireplace, and she's like, "Oh shit, he's 17, and I saw Michael." So she finds out that he didn't go because he left his bags in the room, and she runs into the security guard, which his name's Ronnie. I didn't know that until about now. Anyway, John's friend, who I now have the name of, is Charlie, and he scares the shit out of his girlfriend. He jumps up and, like, boo, scared you. But anyway, he takes the dumbwaiter up to go and get a corkscrew, which ends up falling into a waste disposal. And you know what you think. You know what you're thinking's gonna happen. He puts his hand in there, and Michael's got to turn it on, and it completely chews up his hand. But that doesn't happen. He gets the corkscrew out, and then Michael surprises him. And yeah. So Michael, we don't see what happens to him, but yeah, his girlfriend ends up walking around, and she has this line, which she says, "No sex games till I've eaten," which I found quite funny. But yeah, so Charlie's girlfriend ends up finding him dead in the dumbwaiter, and Michael stabs her in the leg when she climbs into the dumbwaiter to escape. And Michael, after she gets up to the top, cuts the dumbwaiter rope, and which causes the top of the dumbwaiter to catch her ankle in between the frame of the wall of the dumbwaiter and the top of the dumbwaiter, so the ankle basically breaks. And yeah, it's a well done bit ago, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so Michael ends up, catching up to her, and he kills her. He goes fucking crazy and stabs her, and and then John and his girlfriend are like, "Where the fuck are they?" And then they go looking, and they find a blood trail, and they follow it like a bunch of dumbasses instead of running away. I'm not gonna lie, the blood trail looks like strawberry dessert sauce, watered down, and it looks like that. But they find Charlie's girlfriend hanging by a hanging light, and it's in her chest, and sparks fly off, and that's when they realize, oh shit, there's trouble. I mean, John did say to his mum earlier to get over Michael, but nah, But so they end up running into Michael, and they escape through a window, and John ends up saving his girlfriend because she's about to get stabbed, but he ends up trying to fight him, and he gets stabbed in the leg, and she drags him around. Because Michael walks really slowly, she manages to drag him to a safe place, and which is a gate, and there's a door, and she, unlocks the gate, and they get in and lock the gate, but she drops the fucking keys because she's a ditz, and Michael just goes fucking slash crazy at the gate, like trying to hit them. He's like this is literally what his arms like. He's like, and like the noise is like whoosh 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 whoosh, and they're just like this against the thing, and then yeah, it turns out Laurie saves him. She opens the door and she's got a gun. She almost accidentally shoots Ronnie, by the way, when she opens the door. I forgot about that. But yeah, so they end up running around, and Laurie tells them to leave. Tells them to get the fuck out, and she tells the counsellor to do that, but the counsellor's like, no, and then the counsellor thinks he sees Michael Myers, and he grabs the gun off of Laurie and shoots crazy in the direction, but it turns out it's Ronnie, and he gets hit in the head. This doesn't kill him. It hits him in the head, but it doesn't kill him. But anyway, I imagine LL Cool J pulled a Busta Rhymes and said, I don't want to die. But yeah, so, hold on. Yeah, he gets nurse stabbed. You know, Halloween Part 2, where he gets stabbed in the back and lifted up and off the ground. His shoes don't come off, though. And Michael just drops him. And, Laurie's out of bullets because fucking Counselor Moron decided to shoot the shit out of him. But she ends up using a fire extinguisher to hit him with it. And they get in the car. And so basically Laurie gives them the same spiel. You know, the get out of here and get to this place and phone the police. You know, like she did in the original. What she told Lindsay and Tommy to do. But yeah, this time Laurie ain't fucking around. She goes and gets a fire axe and she just walks around screaming at Michael. Like screaming, Michael, come on out, fucking face me, you cunt. Basically like that, like square go. But yeah. So after this, Michael does a one-armed pull-up, but he comes down and he tries to stab her and it doesn't work. But yeah. So they end up, attacking each other, and they end up in a different room, and Laurie hides under a table, and Michael stands on top of the table. She's looking around for him, but she can't see him because he's on top of the table. And she tries to figure out where he's going to go, and she tricks him into thinking that she's this way, and she goes the other way, because Michael swings down. But yeah, so she keeps going under tables, and Michael just gets fed up and runs after her and smashes each table behind him. But then Laurie gets the school flag and stabs Michael right in the fucking chest with it. This, of course, doesn't kill him. It's Michael Myers we're talking about here. But yeah, so she ends up throwing knives at him. They end up in the kitchen. She throws knives at him and she misses him every time. But she ends up taking the drawer and blocking one of Michael's stabs, and Michael hits her with the drawer. But yeah, so they end up she ends up stabbing him multiple times. She gets a knife and she stabs him multiple times, and they fall off of the balcony and onto Michael falls down off of the balcony and onto a table, and he stays there. He doesn't pull a Halloween 1 and disappears. No, he stays there, but she goes to kill him, and that's when Ronnie comes back and he stops her from killing him, and the police arrive and the ambulances arrive, and yeah, she ends up stealing the coroner's van that Michael's in, because she ain't about to let him make another fucking escape. But he gets up, and she crashes, and he gets stuck between the van and a tree, and Michael reaches out to her. He's like this. See, this is important for Resurrection, because Resurrection is the next film and it's really bad. But yeah, so Michael's like this, like, oh fuck. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of got that look like, oh fuck. Like, I'm still alive, what the fuck? And then he reaches out for Laurie, but Laurie, like, she puts her hand out, and she just cuts his fucking head off with the axe. And that's it. That's the end of the film. But, as I said, this is important for Resurrection. You're probably thinking, oh, Michael's fucking dead. Then why isn't the series over? Because that ain't Michael. Because it takes a while for them to get him put in the coroner's van. Because Michael, this was supposed to be the ending, but Jamie Lee Curtis told them not to put it in because she wanted people to actually think that she killed Michael for a little while. But that changed. Basically, the original ending was going to be She cuts his head off, and then it's revealed that that wasn't Michael, and he's wearing the paramedic's costume. And I'll explain next time. I'll properly explain in the Resurrection review as to why this happens. But yeah, that's me done with this. 6 out of 10. It's not the best, not the worst, definitely not the worst. This next one's so bad that Michael Myers had to get fucking remade. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, do what you do. And if you're new here and you want to help me out, why not the subscribe button? I mean, it's up to you. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. And if you want notifications, you got to hit the bell, because that's a thing. And I'll hopefully see you next time. And good.